Left behind in the dark, the girl sat on the cold floor. Her back rested against the rough wall. The room was small, dark, and silent. She could not see anything. There was no window, no light, and no sound except her slow, tired breathing. She did not know how long she had been there. Maybe hours, maybe days. Her stomach hurt. She was hungry. Her lips were dry. She had no water. No food, nothing. She pulled her knees close to her chest and hugged them tightly. Her body was weak. Her head felt heavy. Sometimes she could not tell if she was awake or dreaming. In her mind, she saw flashes. Bright white rooms. Strange machines. People in white suits talking in strange voices. One of them had said, "We don't need her anymore." She was not sure who she was. She only remembered pain, fear, and tests. Every day, they gave her something to drink. Then everything would go black. When she woke up, her body felt different, but now, they were gone. They had left her here. Her name? She was not sure. Maybe they had called her Subject 9, but that didn't feel like a name. It felt like a number. A test. A thing. Not a person. Suddenly, she heard something. A small sound outside the door. A soft crunch, like boots on dry soil. She opened her eyes wide. Her heart started to beat faster. Was someone there? She waited. Silence again. She wanted to stand, to move, but her legs felt like stone. She was too weak, too tired. If she didn't eat soon, she would faint. Maybe worse. She tried to whisper for help, but her voice was dry and cracked. Help. It barely came out. Just a soft breath in the dark, then a noise again. This time, louder, a metallic click, the sound of a lock turning. The door. Light suddenly broke into the room. A narrow beam of light from outside. She covered her eyes with her hand. The light was too bright. It hurt her eyes. She had lived in darkness too long. A shadow stood in the doorway, a tall figure. Not one of them, not the ones in white suits. This one was different. It was a man. He looked human. He wore a dusty jacket and heavy boots. A small scanner in his hand beeped quietly. He looked inside the hut, confused. He had expected the place to be empty. He had only come here to search for old tech, maybe broken machines or rare metals. But then he saw her. He stepped back quickly, shocked. A girl? Here? He looked around, nervous. What is this place? He whispered to himself. She looked at him, afraid. Was he going to hurt her too? The man saw how thin she was. Her face was pale. Her arms weak. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. He stepped forward slowly. Hey. Can you hear me? He asked gently. She blinked slowly, then gave a tiny nod. I'm not here to hurt you, he said. I thought this place was empty. He knelt beside her. She tried to move but fell forward. He caught her before she hit the ground. She's burning up, he said to himself. How long has she been here? He looked around. No cameras. No guards. No footprints outside the hut. Whoever left her here. They didn't plan to come back. He tapped a button on his wrist device. Scanner. Life signs detected. Female. Age ... unknown. Biosigns unstable. He picked her up in his arms. She was light, too light. Like a feather. As he carried her out of the dark hut, she opened her eyes and looked up at him. You human? She asked softly. He stopped walking. He stared at her. You speak Earth language? She gave a weak smile. Not supposed to ... but I remember. The man looked at her again, more carefully this time. Her eyes were strange. Not like normal humans, her skin had a soft glow in the light. She was not normal. Who are you? He asked. I don't know. She whispered. And then her eyes closed. She fainted in his arms. The man looked up at the dark sky. Something didn't feel right. This wasn't just a lost girl. This was something bigger. He looked at the hut one more time. On the wall, scratched deep into the metal, were 3 words. Don't take her. His heart beat faster, but it was too late. He had already taken her, and something, or someone, would come looking. A stranger in the shadows. He didn't come to save a life. He came for metal, wires, and old tech buried in the dirt. He came alone. He always worked alone. The planet was dead. That's what they told him. No life signs, no survivors. Just broken labs and silence. They were wrong. Captain Rail had landed his ship, the Gray Echo, on Sector 75, a place long forgotten by Earth's records. He had followed a weak signal, maybe from an old satellite, maybe something valuable, but now inside his ship's medbay lay something far more valuable than tech. A girl, half alive, skin cold, eyes closed. She didn't belong here. She wasn't part of his plan. He stood beside the medpod, arms crossed, staring at her through the glass. The scanner beeped softly. Heart rate low, dehydrated. Unknown genetic markers detected. Rail scratched his beard. What are you? He whispered. She had called him human, like she wasn't one. And when she said it, her voice had pain in it, like she had met the others. The kind that did not care if she lived or died. He turned to his ship's AI. Echo, run a DNA scan again. Cross-check with Earthborn genomes. The voice replied in a calm tone. Match, 68% human, remaining 32% unknown origin. Possibly engineered. He looked back at her. A child, maybe 17, maybe younger, wearing thin cloth, like hospital rags. Her arms had needle marks. Her wrist had a burned-in number, P09. He didn't like this. Suddenly, the ship's alarm flashed red. External motion detected. Coordinates, original hut location. He moved fast. Back to the cockpit. Brought up the camera feed. A shadow was moving through the ruins. Too fast, too smooth. Not human. Ryle zoomed in. It looked like a drone, but not any kind he knew. 4 legs, glowing red core in the center. It stopped at the spot where the girl had been. It scanned the ground, then lifted its head like it could smell her. They're looking for her, he muttered, and they're not happy she's gone. In the med bay, she suddenly moved. Her fingers twitched. Her eyes opened slowly. He rushed back. Hey, you're safe now. You're on my ship. She blinked. Looked at the white lights above. Her lips barely moved. You took me? He nodded. Yes, I couldn't leave you there. Her eyes were wide now. You shouldn't have. Why? Not? She turned her head, slowly, painfully. Her voice was just a whisper. Because now they'll come for you too. Outside, deep in the shadows of the ruined lab, the drone sent a signal into the sky. A bright red pulse shot upward, disappearing into space. Somewhere far away, something received the signal. Something that had not moved in years. Until now, she speaks the old language. For hours she did not speak. She just lay still under the soft light of the med bay, her eyes half open, staring at nothing. Captain Rail sat in the corner, watching her. He had seen many strange things in the galaxy. Creatures with wings made of fire, planets that bled sand, machines that thought like humans, but never a girl like this. Her body was human, mostly, but her presence was something else. Like she was hiding a secret deep inside her skin. The ship moved through dark space, quiet and smooth. Rail had changed their course. He didn't say it out loud, but he was afraid. That drone, that signal, that warning scratched into the hut wall. Don't take her. He had taken her anyway, and now. The silence felt louder than ever. Suddenly she spoke. One word, soft, from the bed. Home. Ryle stood up. What did you say? Her eyes were still half closed. Her voice was slow, like someone speaking in a dream. I had a home. Before. The white rooms. Before they made me forget. He walked over. Where was your home? Do you remember the name? She looked at him now. And for the first time, her eyes had focus. She whispered a word he hadn't heard in years. Earth. Rail froze. His heart skipped. That word. Earth was never spoken out here. This deep in space, Earth was a memory, a myth, a past. Everyone had moved on from. You're from Earth? He asked. She shook her head slowly. No, not born there. But they gave me Earth language. They said I must speak it, so I can blend in. Rael's stomach turned. Blend in with who? He asked. Her next words were clear, almost too clear. With humans. Silence filled the room again. Rael sat down slowly. His mind was racing. Who was they? Why did they want her to blend in? And most of all, what was she supposed to do once she did? The girl sat up suddenly, gasping. Her hand reached for her neck. What is it? He rushed to her side. She looked around, panicked. Where is the voice? What voice? I hear it. When I sleep. A voice. It tells me to return. It says I failed. Rael's blood ran. Cold. Failed what? She didn't answer, but the screen above the med pod began flashing. Neural link reactivating. Prototype 09. Signal detected. Rael stepped back. What did you do? She grabbed his wrist, her grip stronger than before. I didn't do it, she said. It's waking up. Inside me. The chase begins. The stars were still. The engines were quiet. But Rael felt it. Something was coming. Inside the cockpit, warning lights flashed red for the first time in months. Proximity alert. Incoming signal. No ID match. Rael narrowed. His eyes. Unregistered ship. No call sign. No reply. He tapped the glass nervously. They found us. Too fast. In the med bay, the girl, Prototype 09, stood barefoot, staring out the window. She tilted her head, like listening to something no one else could hear. They're not here to talk, she said softly. They're here to retrieve me. Rael looked back at her. Like cargo. She didn't blink. Like lost property. Then the ship shook. Not hard. Just enough to say, we're here. Rael's radar screen now showed 3 small dots. Circling his ship, silent, waiting, he activated shields. Echo, give me full power. Warning, one of the unknown vessels is powering a magnetic lock. They're trying to pull us in, Rael swore under his breath. They're not wasting time. The girl turned toward him. You need to run. Rael didn't move. They'll chase us. You still have a chance. He looked at her. Why? Do they want you so badly? She stepped forward. Her voice was calm, almost cold. Because I wasn't supposed to survive the test. Rael stared at her. What test? She looked at the floor. I was the last prototype. The only one who didn't die. They called me a failure, but they were wrong. The ship shook again, harder. Tractor beam detected. Hull integrity dropping. Rael sat in the pilot's seat. Hands on the controls. I've run from pirates, raiders, Federation patrols. But this, he looked at her. This feels different. She nodded. Because it is. Then she placed her hand on the console. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the screen flashed. Bright symbols appeared, not in any Earth language. Not anything the ship had ever seen. Hey, what are you doing? Rael shouted, but the ships. Engines roared to life, stronger than before. The girl whispered, almost too soft to hear. Your ship was built from old tech. My tech, I remember how it works. Rael's eyes widened. You just hacked my ship. No, she said. I gave it a voice. The gray Echo launched forward, fast, cutting through the pull of the enemy ships. Behind them, red lights blinked. The chasers began to follow, but they were too late. For now, in the stars behind them, one message was sent from the nearest pursuer. Subject 09 has activated neural memory. Containment failed. Proceed to full recovery protocol. Reply came quickly, cold, robotic. Authorization received. Send the hunters. Voices from the void. She didn't sleep. She drifted, not in dreams, not in peace, but in code, sound, and memory. Not her own dot in her mind. The stars were not stars. They were eyes, watching, waiting, whispering. Prototype 09. The voice said softly, "You have gone off path." She stood inside her mind. A white room. The same room she had seen in flashbacks. Smooth walls, no windows, endless silence. Except now, it spoke to her. Return to base. Reactivation required. You are incomplete. She touched her chest. Her heart was beating fast. Too fast. She wasn't dreaming. She was being accessed. Back on the ship, Ryle watched her from the cockpit monitor. Her body was still, but her brain activity was rising fast. Echo's voice warned him. Neural. Surge detected. Prototype entering sensed memory state. Unknown link source. What the hell does that mean? Ryle muttered. She's receiving something. Thought from deep space. Ryle looked at her pale face on the screen. She was whispering now. Eyes closed. Lips moving. He boosted the mic. Her words chilled him. They made me to serve. But I remember now. I was never meant to live past day 30. Inside her mind, she ran through corridors of light. Each door she passed opened to a new memory, not all hers. She saw other prototypes. Young, scared, some crying, some fighting. All locked in glass. Rooms. You were the last, the voice said. The only one who showed emotion. They called it an error, but it was the spark. She turned. Spark of what? Choice, the voice replied. And choice is dangerous. Suddenly, her eyes snapped open. Alarms blared on the ship. Ryle jumped to his feet. Echo, report. A signal has attached to our ship. Unknown source. Language pattern matching prototype neural code. The girl stood now, weak but awake. She walked slowly to the control panel and placed both hands on it. Turn it off, Ryle said. Whatever you're doing, shut it down. I can't, she said. Why? Because they're not just calling me. She looked him in. The eyes, they're calling through me. The lights flickered in the ship's speakers. Static crackled. Then, a voice came through. Not human. Not machine. Something in between. We see you. They want her back. The message didn't come through space. It came inside the ship, encrypted, buried in the system like it had always been there, waiting for a moment to wake up. Ryle wasn't even touching the controls when the screen lit up. Captain Ryle, you are now in violation of Directive 7, Bio-Recovery Protocol. He stared at the words. Who triggered this? He asked. Echo's voice responded flatly. Message origin. Earth command. Clearance level. Black sky. His mouth went dry. Black sky was shut down 10 years ago. He looked toward the girl. She sat on the floor, legs crossed, calm, too calm. You knew this was coming, he said. She nodded. I was never lost. I was buried. Ryle stepped back. So Earth was hiding you? No, she said quietly. Earth created me. Then they feared me, so they erased me. The screen flashed again. Return prototype 09 immediately. Failure to comply will result in full exile from Earth systems. You are now a traitor, Captain Ryle. He slammed his fist into the console. I saved her. She's alive because of me. The screen answered with 3 simple words. Return or burn. Outside the ship, space looked quiet, peaceful. But on the long-range scanners, Ryle saw a ship appear. Not alien, Earth-made, sleek, black, silent. A recovery unit. They weren't coming to talk. Inside the med bay, the girl slowly stood. I told. You, she whispered. They don't want me dead. Yet, Ryle stared at her. Then what do they want? Her voice was hollow now. Tired. They want to open me. study me, use me. And when they're done, they'll shut me off like the others. He looked at her for a long time. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She just stood there, waiting to see if he would give her back. Instead, he reached for the ship's manual override. Echo, he said. Set new course. Full speed, no return path. Destination? I asked. Ryle turned toward her. You. Choose. She blinked, surprised. What? You were made without a choice. But now I'm giving you one. Where do you want to go? Behind them. The Earth ship charged its weapons. Ryle didn't wait. The gray Echo jumped to light speed, without clearance, without allies, without a future. Just a girl who was never supposed to exist. And one man who finally chose to protect her. She wasn't meant to survive. Time was running out, not because of the hunters. Not because of Earth, but because of her own body. The girl stood in front of the ship's mirror. Staring at herself, she looked human. Almost, but under her skin. She could feel it, the clock they had built into her. Day 30 was close, and she could feel her cells fighting each other. Like something inside her was trying to shut down everything she was. I was made to end, she whispered to her reflection. Not to last, not to choose. In the cockpit, Ryle watched old medical logs Echo had found deep in the ship's memory. Prototype 09. Designed lifespan 30 standard days. After that, neural decay begins. Autofail protocols trigger shutdown. Ryle slammed the screen shut. They gave her a death date like she's a machine. Echo's voice was low. She was ... part machine. But she is now something else. The ship drifted near an ancient station, floating at the edge of a dead star. No power, no lights. But inside, there was hope. A man named Dr. Kale once worked here, a forgotten scientist. One of the original creators of the prototypes. He had left the program after seeing what they did to the children. Rumor said he vanished into deep space, bringing with him one thing, a cure. Now, Ryle and the girl entered the cold, silent station. Everything was dark, broken, but her feet knew the way. I remember this place, she said, before they took my name. They found the lab, dust everywhere, empty chairs. But in the center, a pod. Inside, a glowing vial. Final code override, P09 only. Ryle picked it up. This is it. But the girl looked unsure. What's wrong? He asked. It will change me, she said. I don't know what I'll become. You'll live. She looked at him for a long time. Then asked a question she had never been allowed to ask. Do I deserve to live? Ryle stepped closer. You were made in a lab, but you survived pain, fear, and silence. And you never hurt anyone, even when you could. He placed the vial in her hand. You don't just deserve to live, you deserve to choose. She looked at the vial one last time, then she closed her eyes. And drank it. The station lights flickered. Her body trembled. Then glowed. Echo's voice whispered through the coms. Vital stabilizing. Neural decay halted. Subject. Fully alive. She opened her eyes. For the first time. They were clear. She smiled. A real smile. I think I finally know who I am. Far away, Earth Command received a final signal. No coordinates, no threat, just a message. She lives. She remembers. She is free. And then silence. The gray Echo disappeared into deep space. No one knew where they went, but legends would whisper of a girl who was never meant to survive. And the human who made sure she did.